Arkansas Traveler, Level 1. Arkansas Traveler is in the key of D. We're in 2/4 time, so 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and we have no pickup notes. We come in right on the downbeat, and the basic unit of time here, the feel is an eighth note feel. So it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and that's the basic feel of the piece at level 1. So this is the skeleton of the melody. Subsequent levels will flesh this out a little bit more, but if you're playing this, you're playing Arkansas Traveler. All right, let's, I should say also this is binary form AABB. So we, like so many fiddle tunes, it's a square fiddle tune. You could play it for a contra dance if you like. Okay, so let's break this down. Key of D. So we start on the D. So we have 2 Ds. Then we go over to the B, the 2 Bs there, second finger there on the G string. Then 2 A's. Then over to the open D. Then we have 2 E's, 2 F sharps. Then E, D, B, A. Then the same phrase as the beginning. We go D, D, B, B, A, open D. Then we jump up to the higher D with the ring finger. Then the B with the first finger, open A, G with the ring finger, F sharp, E, then D, then another D to finish it out there. So that whole first part sounds like this. 1 and 2 and. And you play it again because it's A, A, B, B. Okay, let's look at the second part. The B section starts on a high A with the ring finger on the E string. So we have 2 of those A's, then 2 G's, then 2 F sharps, then 2 E's, 2 D's, 2 E's, then F sharp, D, 2 E's. Then back up to the high A. 2 of those, 2 G's. Make sure, by the way, that the G is right back next to the F sharp. So it's A, A, G, G. 2 F sharps, 2 E's. Then this phrase is the same as the end phrase for the A section. So it's D, B, A, G, F sharp, E, 2 D's. Okay, I'll put that together in time. 1 and 2 and. Then we repeat the B section. So A, A, B, B. So let me put that together with the metronome. I'm going to be at 60 beats per minute here. I'll count this out for you, and we'll play all the way through one time. 1 and 2 and 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 2 and 1 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 and 2 and 2 and 1 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 and 2 there you go. I failed to mention at the beginning, I should have said that we start with a downstroke. So remember, you see a little, the little box with the bottom missing, a little shape like that. That's the downstroke symbol. So typically your first full measure is going to start with a downstroke. So failed to mention that. Okay, so there you go. It's all put together. Level 1 Arkansas Traveler.